Well, you've said in other interviews and other people have said, there's really no example of socialism actually working. It's a failed experiment. It's good in intentions, but it doesn't work out for anybody. But if capitalism was so great, we had a more true version of it in the past. Why didn't it work? Is that a failed experiment, or was it just people coming in wanting to get elected and essentially promising a free lunch?
Well, the problem is in capitalism, the problem is democracy. I mean, there is the flawed political system. Capitalism is a great economic system, but democracy is a flawed political system. And the framers of the U.S. Constitution understood this, which is why they established a republic.
A republic, right.
And with a lot of checks on democracy to prevent this kind of stuff from happening. But a lot of those checks and balances have been removed. They're still there, but they're no longer enforced by a complicit Supreme Court. And so the government gets away with all sorts of unconstitutional things. And so democracy has done a lot of damage because politicians are doing destructive things to get votes, right? So what's important for a politician is getting elected, not doing what's right for the country, but doing what puts you back in office. And so generally what's good politics and what's good economics are the opposite. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to do something that's good economics, you're probably not going to get elected or reelected. So it's very perverse incentives. It's the problem with democracy. And so that's what people should be upset about. But the alternative is not, okay, let's have a dictatorship. We need to, I like a Republican form of government. We just have to reimpose the safeguards that we lost.
Well, we've seen government obviously balloon, and with that, increases in taxes. And one of the things I find so fascinating, especially living in California, is we're literally pouring money on problems, and they're just getting bigger. Homelessness is a great example out here. And I remember one interview you did where you said something really interesting. You pointed out that in medieval times, the serfs paid like 25% in taxes, and that was considered oppressive. And now, if you live in a state like California, you're paying like 50% or more. And the income tax didn't come in until, I believe it was like 1913, and that was 7%, just to be a tax on the rich, right? So should we be, how do you see taxes?
And the deal that was made with the devil back then, it's the reason that people supported the income tax was because they weren't going to pay it. But the government said, if we tax the rich with an income tax, we'll get rid of the tariffs, because the tariffs were paid by the middle class. And so the government said, hey, if we can have this income tax, we won't need the tariffs anymore. And so the public, got behind it. And now, of course, the average American is paying a much higher rate of tax than was originally envisioned for the Carnegies or the Rockefellers. So, as soon as the government, you give them an inch, they take a mile. But my point on serfdom is, when you look back on the feudal system, we say, yeah, that was really bad. Being a serf, because, 25% of what you produce was just taken by the Lord, right?
Before we continue, help us by smashing that YouTube like button and subscribe now to this channel. This shows the algorithm that you value the information, and it helps us spread this message. Sharing is caring. Please like and subscribe now. Thank you. And now, let's continue.
Right. Well, today, most Americans would aspire to be elevated to the level of a serf. The serfs had it great by American standards. We fought a revolution over taxes. We wanted to get rid of British rule, because we objected to taxes that are tiny compared to the taxes that we impose on ourselves today. And what bothers me, even now, when you hear people objecting to the tax hikes that the Biden administration and the Democrats in Congress are, talking about for the rich. A lot of the Republican opposition is, hey, these are uncompetitive rates. Our rates are going to be much higher than other countries, and so this is bad. It should really be a moral argument. This is immoral for a government to take so much of what somebody produces. We can't treat our people like slaves, even worse than serfs. We can't take 50%, 60% of what somebody earns. This is not fair. That's not right. So that's where the objection should be. Also on the constitutionality of these type of taxes, but just on the morality of it. It is not the right thing to take so much from somebody.
Well, so how much should we be taxing the wealthy versus the middle class? Because that's the main platform for a lot of the Democratic politicians, right? It's like, we're going to tax the wealthy. We're going to get that money back and redistribute it.
Look, I don't believe in the income tax at all. I don't even think it should exist. I think we should just have consumption taxes and everybody should pay the same rates. Obviously, the rich have a lot more money to spend, and so they'll pay a lot more in taxes. But I don't think that rich people should pay taxes that middle-class people or poor people don't have to pay, because people are always going to vote for taxes that don't affect them. Everybody's willing to vote to tax the other guy. You should have to pay any tax that you are advocating. You shouldn't be exempted from it. So if we're going to have an income tax, it should apply to everybody's income, and it should be the same rate. Whether that rate is 10%, 15%, everybody should pay it. The school teacher should pay the same rate as the financier. Obviously, if somebody is making $10 million a year at a 10% rate, they're going to pay a lot more than somebody who's making $50,000 a year at a 10% rate, but everybody is still contributing 10%. So we're all in the same boat. And if they want to raise taxes, well, they have to raise the rate on everybody.
Right.
So if we're going to go from 10% to 12%, we're all in it. So now, do the people making $50,000 want to support it? Well, if they do, if they really think the government expenditures are worthwhile, they should be willing to contribute to the support. Now, yes, people say, well, it's not fair that the rich pay the same rate. Why? That is exactly fair. It's unfair if they have to pay a higher rate. They will pay a higher tax because they're making more money. So they are paying more tax. They're just not paying at a higher rate. This whole idea that taxes have to be progressive, I think, is wrong.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.